Hello, friends. Thanks for joining us. You can help our channel grow by smashing that subscribe button. Don't forget to leave a like, leave a comment. Tell us what you think. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, you can find us at Ray Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and of course, everyone's favorite, TikTok.
Yeah, right. We got some Blue Bomber talk. We got some NFL, NHL, and World Cup hot topics. But let's start off with our Winnipeg Jets coming off a 7-2 win over Chicago tonight. Chicago's not very good, but man, they look good. All four lines look good tonight. They're kind of rounding into form.
Yeah, good night for sure. I mean, they finished 2 for 4 on the power play. I'm going to say this probably not right, but Menelanen, a couple of goals. So it's good to see that bottom six chipping in some goals. But all in all, a pretty good weekend for the Jets in their 2 games against Dallas and Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago's 7th loss in a row, by the way. I really love how these the bottom six is starting to play. Harkin's got a goal today on the end of a hard. I don't know. Lowry's just playing with full speed and a physical presence, and that opened things up. So I'm really liking how they're coming into form under Rick Bowness, even though they're missing Ehlers and Appleton. Yeah,
for sure. And then Gustafsson was also out today as well. So there's another injury that they're going to have to deal with.
Yeah.
So it seemed to be biting them a little bit, but they're seeming guys are stepping up and moving into spots. Even watching Sandberg today, he was getting into it with one guy on the Blackhawks late. He was getting slashed like crazy, and he just took the guy down and sat on top of it. So it's good to see that angriness. But like you said, Lowry, good start for him, man. 11 points so far this year. I mean, he got another probably one at least tonight, right, on that goal to Harkins.
Yeah.
So it's good to see him chipping in, especially after that slow start to the season. But he seems to be taking control of that third line, and they've had some good outings in that. I'm going to say it wrong too. Esimont.
Yeah. Mikey.
Yeah. It looks like he's penciled into that Jets lineup, and he's probably staying there because healthy scratch tonight was Gagne.
Yeah.
And then they left him in over Tornado too. So good to see.
Let's talk about this Rick Bowness effect and how he's been on this team. We're 20 games in now ish.
Yeah.
We kind of
there's 20 today.
Yeah. We kind of said at the beginning of the year, the 20 game mark, where we kind of step back and look. Wednesday, you gave me a text that you're back off of the Jets bandwagon. Are you still living in that world? Or are you kind of coming on over to the Jets side?
I'm still there. Just watching them get their butts handed to them by the Wild for the second year in a row on Thanksgiving. It's like, are they getting better or not? Watching that kind of effort after, watching them play some pretty good games the last couple of weeks before that.
Yeah.
I'm still cautious. Like, I'm still watching. I like what I'm seeing. I expected way worse this year. Yeah. So I like what I'm seeing. I like the directions it's going. I want to see more consistent effort every game, because we were seeing that, the Penguin game, not so good. Carolina game, pretty good until the last 5 minutes. Get thumped by Mini. Dallas again. Besides the late controversy in that game, they were allowing Dallas to come back into that game. And it's just like, okay, you got to end these games and put them away. And that's what they did tonight against Chicago, coming in there. So I like what I'm seeing. I like what Bowness has done so far. Will it translate over the whole season? We'll wait and see. But I'm looking forward to it.
And of course, when you talk about the Rick Bowness effect, it's hard not to mention Josh Morrissey. He's having a crazy year, like Vezina talk kind of year, putting up the points, pushing on offensive rushes, which is a staple of Bowness's systems. I'm not a system person in regards to hockey. I don't know the ins and outs, the technicalities of what the heck they're drawing up or what they're doing.
Yeah.
But it's obvious that they're playing better team defense, and it really is freeing up our defensemen who have the skill to push up with that rush.
It's funny that you mentioned Morrissey, because I went to go look at some stats today, and I knew he was having a good season point-wise, but he's actually leading the team in points.
Yeah.
Like 4 goals, 16 assists, and 2 game winners last week, in those overtime games where we were all upset that the Jets gave up late goals to send that into overtime. But he, 2 breakaway goals is like, holy crap. I've never seen that out of him, and he's 20 points in the first 20 games. He's on an 80-point pace or just over. And it's like, it's good to see. And it's usually with the D of the Jets, they weren't contributing a lot of points since Bufflin, right?
Absolutely.
Like, and then you're thinking even on the power play, it's like they're pretty useless down there. But and Neil Pionk's up there too with 11 points. So it's good to see that D joining the rush and not scared. Like Morrissey wasn't scared in both those overtime games to be around the blue line to center looking for that breakaway pass.
Yeah.
So that's awesome to see. So I like that from Bowness. He's not holding those guys back or making them scared to jump into play.
I think it's really encouraging with the injuries with the forwards that they're placing guys, even the Gagne and the first line didn't really work out, but they're able to shuffle guys and they're not losing much of their play, the quality of play. It does feel like the system, the players are buying into the system. It's not always every man or next man up. I get that, but it seems that they're still a competitive team despite the lineup shifts that they make.
Yeah, and I actually like the lineup shifts that they made, putting Scheifele and Wheeler back and putting them with Perfetti. That team chipped in another goal tonight. They had a goal the other night, and Perfetti had a couple great chances on top of that, and then putting Connor and Dubois together. That was kind of a mystery to me at the beginning of the year why he took them away from each other. But again, over the last 2 games, they look good. And tonight, Connor scored on the power play. Dubois gets 2, and Connor assists on both of those.
Yeah.
So that's good to see them back together and clicking.
And when we talk about the system also in this team defense heavy system, it's obviously benefited Connor Hellebuyck. He's an amazing goalie. He's a Vezina caliber goalie no matter what. But when you put a responsible team in front of him, he's lights out. He's definitely in the Vezina talk.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, he's at a .926 save percentage.
Ugh.
And his shots were high earlier in the year because they still had a few games where they're still working things out, and their shot totals were at 40 or over, right?
Yeah.
But over the last little bit, it's been a lot better. So yeah, if you can limit the shots allowed, Hellebuyck's going to make those saves. He made those saves when he was taking 40. So if you limit, tonight only 25 shots against Chicago. So, that's nice to see. Dallas had quite a bit, but they were also playing from behind and probably shooting a lot. And they held Carolina down too. So, 3 good games there, for the most part. Can they keep it going?
Well, I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
I bought in, so I'm just saying.
It's an enjoyable season so far. I'll tell you that.
I'm loving watching when I've had an opportunity. Let's keep on talking about Connor Hellebuyck in last game. Big controversy at the end of the game, goal tying game. Hellebuyck clearly had his helmet knocked off. The rules say if it's your teammate who initiates the contact, it doesn't count. There's no whistle. I think that's garbage.
To me, you know what? Okay, right. It's not goaltender interference. If the goal was scored immediately and Hellebuyck was fine, not goaltender interference, it would have counted. Yeah. The fact that he got his helmet knocked off, crunched against the side of the net, lying face first on the ice. And the rule is even when he loses it, if the Jets had it, they would have blown the whistle dead right away. Mm-hmm. But because Dallas had it, they say if there's immediate scoring chance, they don't blow it. But it took another 4 seconds and a few more passes for it to get back in front of the net and for them to score. Absolutely. But either way, you got a guy lying face first on the ice. Player safety. Even if he could get up, you expect him to go back into that net and try to stop a slap shot from the point?
Yeah.
Like, is this what the NHL is deeming player safety? Like, that's ridiculous to have a guy prone on the ice like that and let the play go on.
It's nonsensical.
It doesn't make any sense at all, for sure. Like, and the fact that it led to Dallas even getting a point out of that game too, which is a huge divisional rivalry game, allows Dallas to get a point on a play that probably shouldn't happen. It's such a terrible. I haven't heard a good explanation coming from the NHL at all on that.
They have a perfectly fine explanation. There's a rule, but the rule sucks is the problem.
Yeah. But the rule doesn't make sense. It's immediate.
Rouge rule in the CFL when the guy didn't get to return the ball out of the end zone, lost the game because of it. That's just pure stupidity. It makes no sense.
Yeah. That's one thing they'll have to look at, and maybe with Hellebuyck speaking out about it now and showing his frustrations with the play. Like, he even said himself that the NHL put him in danger. So,
absolutely,
maybe it's something they'll look at and have, a review of that this offseason or after the season and change that up. I know they're thinking goalies are sometimes going to take their helmets off in situations, but you had Matt Murray basically knocking the net off the other night 3 times, and that led to a whistle every time. Right now, to me, that's more of a penalty than a guy possibly taking his helmet off. No goalie wants to take their helmet off and possibly get a puck to the head for that.
Didn't the Dallas goalie lose their blocker or their
pad
early, and they called a whistle on that?
Yeah.
So then what the?
Yeah.
Stupid.
Oh, the NHL.
Upcoming week for the Jets, they have Colorado on Tuesday. Heavy Central Division matchup there. Blue Jackets on Friday and the Ducks on Sunday. How do you see this week shaking out for the Winnipeg Jets?
Yeah, I mean, their toughest match of the week is Tuesday there against the Avs, so that could go either way. They should win no problem against the Ducks and the Blue Jackets. It's not like they're not having very good seasons at all, both of those teams.
Teams in the league.
Hey?
This is like the two worst teams in the league almost.
Yeah. So, I mean, we know how the Jets play against those teams. They always play down sometimes to them and let them linger. But the Avs are 8-2 in their last 10. I know the Jets are also 7-3 in their last 10 coming into tonight. So, yeah, it should be a good game. Colorado's on a bit of a roll. Probably be a little bit different than the last time they met when Colorado was still kind of struggling or whatever. But that should be a good one. 2 easy wins later on. I'm looking forward to that Tuesday one, though.
Really like the Jets at home against Colorado. And I really like how this bottom six is starting to look really physical and also getting some points on the board. Like that fourth line today. Who's it? Toninato, Melanine.
No, not Toninato.
Who was in the middle there?
Toninato was out. So, why can't I think of who it was now?
So was it Toninato? Melanine and who?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, my goodness. Who was it?
Total brain fart here.
Oh, well. Any which way. I think they'll be fine this week. I'm hoping for 3-0. I think they can go 3-0 with their style of play, like I was saying, against Colorado in that bottom six starting to get hot. And their team defense, of course. And like you said, the other two teams, not very good.
No, yeah, I'd be, I wouldn't be upset with a loss to the Avalanche per se, but if they lose any of those other 2 games at all, I'd be very disappointed in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's move on to the NHL Canadian Power Rankings. We'll go from 7 to 1. Who do you got at 7?
The good old Ottawa Senators, back to number 7 in the Canadian Power Rankings for me. Not a very good showing so far, 15 points. I expected more out of this team after the signings and the trades they made, but it looks like another disappointing season for them.
No, they have no defense, so they're no good. 3-6-1 in their last 10. I have Ottawa at 7 as well. I got the Vancouver Canucks at 6. They strung together a couple of wins. Great. Horvat's scoring, but still not a very good team.
I put the Flames at 6. Vancouver and them flipped around just because the Flames have been struggling a little bit more lately than the Canucks. The Canucks have been better. Flames have lost 3 in a row, 4-5-1 in the last 10. It's not looking good there either. Canucks right now for me at number 5.
Okay,
Flames at 6.
Pardon me, who you got 6?
Flames at 6.
I got Montreal Canadiens at 5. I was actually tempted to put them ahead of number 4. But they're playing surprising for what people thought, and they're putting up some goals. Martin St. Louis might have something there.
Yeah, he's got a young team and he's getting them going in the right direction. This is a building year for them, per se, and hopefully they can keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely. Who do you got at 4?
At 4, I got Edmonton. Again, up and down team. 4-6 in their last 10. Kind of struggling, like not very good so far out of the gate and at all. And that Pacific Division helps not altogether. So it's keeping them kind of still in the race, but they really need to get it together. Even Skinner, who started the first part of the season strong, has kind of tapered off a bit.
I got Calgary Flames at number 4, playing 500 hockey league, mostly because of Nazem Kadri. They'd probably be under 500 if it wasn't for him. I don't know what's going on with that team. That motor ain't going like they had at the end of the regular season last year, but I still think they're better than Montreal, Vancouver, and Ottawa, so I'll have them at 4. Who do you have at 3?
Yeah, I'm going to put the Montreal Canadiens at number 3, give them some credit. They've had a pretty good run, 6-4. They've won 2 in a row in their last 2 games. So good to see. They're, chances of making the playoffs are still pretty slim, but they're sitting with more points than some of those Canadian teams right now. So good for them.
Dang, you got them at 3. I got the Oilers at 3. Connor McDavid, come on, give me a break. He's going to win the Hart again, yeah?
For sure, but is he going to be able to carry this team on his back again, him and Draisaitl?
Probably. Far enough.
Like, this D is still not any better in Edmonton. Their goaltending is shaky with Campbell, who, they signed for whatever, and it's still not going good.
Yeah. It's good that they're in Pacific Division.
Yes. But those top 3 spots are starting to run away a little bit, so.
Who do you got at 2?
I got the Jets at 2. 7-3 in their last 10. Playing some good hockey for the most part. There's some stinkers in there, but they've been solid.
I got the Leafs at 2. Was John Tavares on that TB12 kind of program? He's having a good year coming back. How old is he now? 34, 35?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Maybe a little younger than that, but he's having a great year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have them at 2. And I have the Jets at number 1, playing good hockey. One of the best goalies in the NHL. So that's why I'll take them over the Leafs. And they seem to play a better team defense as well.
I still got the Leafs at 1. Still, to me, they're sitting with 6 more points than the Jets. They've won 3 in a row. They've kind of righted the ship after an early slump to the season. So for me, they'll be the top Canadian team.
Yeah. Friends, put your Canadian Power Rankings in the comments below. Dang, you have Montreal at 3, eh?
Hey, man, sometimes you got to give those teams credit when you can. Who knows if they'll last there. But to me, Edmonton, Calgary, they haven't been playing good hockey lately.
Montreal's better than them?
Right now they are.
Let's go on to the World Cup of Soccer in Qatar. Canada officially eliminated from the next round, unfortunately, but they scored a goal, which is nice.
Yeah, Alphonso Davies with the first Canadian goal, a nice header early, first minute of the game.
Beautiful.
There was definitely some excitement right then and there. And, even after that Belgium game, watching that Belgium game, like I thought they were going to go into that game and lose. And then watching the way they play, it gave me some excitement and some more expectations kind of thing that, hey, they may be able to advance out of this group. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. It was a good, start. And then Croatia just took over and then just showed their class for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and they looked so good against Belgium.
Yeah.
So good against Belgium. It definitely could have been a match that they had. I don't know if losing against Belgium just shell-shocked them and put too much pressure on the next game, and they just they didn't look like they had the energy. Strong reach to ask them to make the next round, but it's also very disappointing the way this happened.
I was going to say, if the Belgium game, they went into that loss 2-0 and we're looking great, you're like, okay, let's see what they can do here. But that expectation rose. So to me, what were your thoughts on Herdman's comments? Basically, we're going to F Croatia or whatever. Do you think it did more damage than any good? Did it? Because there was a Croatian player that came out after the game and said, hey, that motivated us kind of to step up our game even more. So there's a lot of expectations with that comment to put on a young Canadian team because they did not look good today at all in that game.
Yeah, it was a challenge that the coach put out there.
Probably didn't need to do it, though. Keep your emotions in check a bit.
He regrets it, and it's a decision he made as a head coach. He wanted to take the team in that direction. He regrets it a bit. At a score of 4-1, I don't think that really mattered, to be honest with you.
Well, it could have been worse.
The player can say, hey, we were motivated, but they didn't look very good after that first goal Canada did.
Well, no, and Croatia looked world class in that. They took over. They had some great chances. They scored a goal that was a close goal offside. Borjan made a couple nice saves to keep that score even closer than it should have been. Unfortunately, Canada altogether, there's just some sloppy plays. Their passes weren't crisp. They just made a lot of mistakes in that game, and that could have been more Croatia's play. But watching them against Belgium, you got some hope for the future, and hopefully they can end off with a win against Morocco or even a tie. Get something out of this and look to the future because I think they got a pretty good future with those young guys.
The Belgium coach gave him props. Definitely said that they were out. The Belgium squad was outplayed by Canada, and Canada's going to be putting some serious money. Were they making over $10 million for this appearance?
Yeah, I think something like that.
Serious money into the program, especially with hosting the World Cup next summer round.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to 2026 for sure. See what Canada can do.
It's optimistic in Soccer Canada land.
Yeah, it'll be interesting the rest of this World Cup altogether. There's been some upsets and some teams winning games that, probably shouldn't have. So there's going to be some powerhouses, I think, that are not going to make the second round. Germany scraped away with a 1-1 win against Spain to keep their hopes kind of alive. But we'll see which ones are out. Belgium lost to Morocco today too. Yeah. So there's a chance that the number 2 team in the world is not going to make it out of the group stages.
Other than Canada, I've not really been involved in this World Cup, and I probably not watching it until the Final Four. It's been just such a joke. I made a mistake of watching the FIFA Uncovered documentary, and it ruined the whole thing for me. I'm out. But I love seeing the Japanese fans clean the stadiums. It's amazing.
They did, yeah.
There's even stories about fans and people getting to know each other, which is great about the World Cup. It's just the whole Qatar getting the World Cup, which is a joke. What? Their team, they don't have any players on any major teams. It's ridiculous.
No. And they're eliminated too already.
Yeah.
So after 2 games.
Give me a break.
First host nation to get eliminated, I think, after 2 games.
Maybe I'll get into it sooner, but I doubt it. Let's talk some NFL talk. Hot topic going on right now. The Sean Taylor Memorial / Monument revealed. What the fuck was that? Did you see that thing, man?
I seen the monument. Yeah.
It's a mannequin. It's like,
oh yes, yeah.
It's like you're walking by a store and it's the window. That's your monument to Sean Taylor.
It doesn't even have arms. Doesn't have nothing. Like I don't know. Like that's Washington. That's Washington Commanders for you. They can't even get this thing right.
Yeah. Like every decision they make is horrible. And this is how, like, don't get me wrong. I didn't expect them to build a full-fledged statue of Sean Taylor. You know, his career was cut short. And I don't know how much impact he had on the community individually beyond football. But if you're going to make a monument to this player, like, I could do more than a clothing.
Yeah, put some more effort to it. Put some kind of face on it, some kind of likeness to him at all. Anything, you know, on arms, making a play, even like one of his signature plays, like anything like that you could have done. Not just a straight up guy standing straight up with no arms.
Yeah, do something with like all this technology that they have. They could have done something digital and cool.
Yeah.
Dude, Washington is a trash organization through and through.
Yeah, it's almost one of those things like they just did it for the sake of doing it. Like, we should do this kind of thing. Like, why even do it then?
Let's get the fans in early to sell some more beers.
Yeah, exactly.
Sell some merch around there. You gonna talk about some Blue Bombers?
Yeah, for sure, man. It's kind of getting over that loss, but still kind of lingers a little bit.
I know, like people I'm walking out, going to events. Why do we have to talk about this? Why do we have to talk about this? You know, I'm not a fan of what happened. I'm trying to get over it. People are like, oh, how's the Grey Cup? Like, shut up. Leave me alone sometimes. Let me get over it. Just not shut up. I love y'all. But holy cow, y'all are poking the bear here.
Are they asking you how the Grey Cup is because they know the score or they didn't know the score? Because if they're asking you,
they know I bleed blue and gold. And they're messing with me, man.
Yeah.
These white hairs and stuff. But there's still some action going on. Some good news out of Bomber Nation. A couple vets being re-signed with Patty Neufeld and Willie Jefferson. Very important free agents that they got signed there.
Yeah, those are 2 guys that you probably knew were coming back anyways. You know, like Willie Jefferson's here year round now. He's got a house and everything here. He moved here last winter, so you know he's not going anywhere. And you know the Bombers are not going to lowball him, right? They're going to pay him what he's worth, and he knows what he's worth, and he's going to agree to that and probably not hold out for more, right?
Yeah.
And then Neufeld again. He's been here for a while. It's another good signing for that O-line.
Yeah, 2 of a lot of free agents that need to be
signed.
Yeah. 2 big ones. You know, it's great. And it's great that they have Zach Claro signed up. If you had to pick a couple of players that are next up to be signed for the Bombers on their free agent list, who do you think? Like, I have Stanley Bryant there, even though I was like, maybe he's getting old. Maybe he might retire. If he just won another Offensive Lineman of the Year award. So I think that they'd really have to get Stanley Bryant there. I don't know if they can find anyone better. I don't think Jamarcus Hardrick is ready to make the switch on the other side. So I want to see Stanley Bryant signed. I want to see Jackson Jeffcoat signed. He's a stalwart on the D-line. And Nick Dembski, I think, is a valuable Canadian that they need to sign. Any thoughts on your end about free agents that you'd like to see them sign there?
Yeah, I agree with all of that. Like their whole O-line there, not their whole O-line, but, you know, Brian, Couture, Hardrick, Neufeld were all free agents.
Yeah.
So they can lock those guys down. And, hey, that's a successful start to your free agency. And I can't see Hardrick and Couture, maybe Couture, who knows, but Hardrick going anywhere else. Couture might, because he might want to start, right? I don't know. Mm-hmm. Well, he is starting. I mean, so coming off injury, you know, maybe there's another option out there for him. Dembski, totally agree. You can't let that guy go anywhere else.
Yeah.
You know, you're not letting him leaving. Bailey is another one that I'd like to see back. So we'll see what happens there, but not totally end of the world if he doesn't. D-line, Jeffco was kind of deciding if he's even going to come back and play at all, right? Yeah. I think that's what I kind of heard out of him, because he's got some successful side businesses going and stuff like that. So he may decide, hey, that was it for me. Adam Bighill, another one.
Yeah, it's kind of like they're in the position where what are we going to do? It's great with these 1-year contracts that they can, maybe go for that final run with the core that they have. But is it one of those things where are they trying to hold on to come the end of free agency? Are they going to be trying to hold on to too many old guys? And will they not be as good as a team and maybe bring in fresh blood? I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. Just putting it out there for conversation.
So are you saying not to sign Bighill, or you're saying
no, don't put that on my head.
I'm just asking. I'm just asking.
I love Adam Bighill.
I'm trying to read between the lines here.
Okay, well, to be honest, Adam Bighill, I think, is a great player, a great leader, but he has to be there at a certain price point. I think it's like an Andrew Harris decision this year.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think it's good because I think he is willing to take a little less. I think also because of his side businesses and his employment arrangement. I think he does like personal training, fitness, and also financial advising or something like that. I don't know the details, but he does have something nice set up. So maybe that will, lower the wage. And I definitely let's see Adam Bighill back at a proper price point.
I do agree with that. Yes. And that's funny that you say with the Harris thing, because now you say it, it's like, that's almost kind of the same situation where they're going to offer Bighill maybe a certain amount, and it's going to be almost a take it or leave it kind of thing. And hopefully he's Bighill's, he's been here for years. He's kind of laid down some roots. He's working outside the Bombers as well. And maybe he'll take that, not a discount, but he'll see, okay, this is what I'm worth now. I'll take it. I'll be okay with it. Because they got a lot of DBs again that are free agents as well, right? So Nick Taylor, Rose, Mason, Darby, who they didn't bring back really last year. So who knows if they'll bring them back. So
say you can only bring back 2 of those D-backs, Darby, Lawrence, Maston, Rose, Taylor. Which 2 are you taking?
Taylor for sure.
Yep.
Lawrence to me kind of looked pretty good close to the end of the year, but
he totally
Rose didn't have the greatest this season, so I'm not too sold on him. And Darby was only here for a bit. Mason was hurt, so I'd probably bring back Taylor and Lawrence.
I go Taylor and Maston. I really like Maston's versatility to play linebacker as well as D-back. But I also liked how Lawrence played at the end of the season.
Yeah.
You saw him on the big plays. You saw him being busy. He's one of the strengths in the secondary going into the playoffs, into the Grey Cup. So, that's going to be a tough decision. Not that maybe he signs them all. I don't know.
Yeah, and Mason, maybe you can bring him back for a little bit less because he's coming off injury, so you never really know, right?
Yeah.
So he needs to have a bounce back season. So you got Kyrie Wilson, who also got hurt earlier. He's another free agent. So a lot of decisions there to make.
Absolutely. You gonna re-sign Greg Ellingson?
I don't know. Probably not. Like if they can get him maybe for a good price, sure. But they probably, you got Janarian Grant. I'd rather bring Janarian Grant back than Ellingson kind of thing.
He's missed quite a lot of games the past couple seasons, not just this season. Greg Ellingson hasn't been dependable health-wise.
No, kind of breaking down, kind of getting up in age. So a lot of miles on that body and a lot of hits.
Yeah, he was a big physical receiver in the middle.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't envy. I wish I had Kyle Walter's job. I'd F the team up. Yeah. But I don't envy him when he has to make decisions like that.
No, and it seems like every year they're doing this, right?
Yeah.
Like last year too, they went through a lot. So hopefully, I'm surprised even with Jefferson or something, you didn't sign him maybe for a couple years or kind of match with Claros. What did he sign for? 2 or 3 years? 3, right?
This last contract?
Claros.
Yeah, I think it was 3.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm surprised you don't try to match some of these guys with that, but especially Willie Jefferson. He's not young, but he's not old yet, kind of thing. So,
and he's definitely like part of the culture in the locker room.
Exactly. So,
man,
I guess these guys like these 1-year contracts, see what they can do. But
let's talk about kicking a little bit. No, not that I didn't talk about kicking last week enough. O'Shea's doubling down on the confidence in Leggio and him being back better next year. I don't know, man. Like maybe, I guess, but they have to bring in competition.
Yeah, I don't blame him for coming out and defending his kicker. He's not going to say anything bad about him in the press or in the media or whatever. So good on him for sticking up for his guy. I cannot see them not bringing somebody in. And especially if, like you say, Liam Hiralahu, did I say that right? Decides to come back to the CFL. It's like, you got to look at that guy and see if you can get him. You're not leaving that guy out there. If Castillo again was a free agent, the thing is, Leggio had a good year. He was one of the tops in field goals.
Yeah.
It just came down to pressure points and extra points where he kind of suffered. Will a second year being that full-time starter help him move in that next direction? Is it a chance to take though? But maybe you bring him in, let him give a first shot in the first few games of the season. And if it's not going well, you have a different option. You find a different option. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you definitely bring someone in for competition, a young guy and a vet, because you want to see how he can do under pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Come training camp, you don't want him on the sideline just kicking balls by himself into a net. You want him working for that job and seeing if he can make those 40+ kicks when his job is on the line. Put him in those as much simulation as to real life situations that you can.
It's funny because he hit that. What did he hit? A 55-yarder this year for a win, right?
Yeah.
But then it was so you're thinking, okay, he's turned that corner. It's going to be that guy. But then he'll miss the other ones in the converts, and it's just like, come on, man, like. You got to hit those, like even in the Montreal game, you missed that field goal, but you're missing some where then it turns into the other team now has a chance to tie the game with a touchdown instead of having to go for a 2-pointer after, kind of thing. So he's got to get better. I expect him to get better now that he'll be a second-year starter. But I'd like to see some competition.
Talking about someone else who isn't signed, O'Shea. Coach O'Shea does not have a contract moving forward. Is this a concern to you?
Not totally at this point. It's still early. He said he was waiting till after exit interviews, but I would much rather see them get this done sooner than later. I can't see some of these guys signing though, without knowing that O'Shea is going to be back.
Absolutely.
So that's a good sign. You see Willie Jefferson Neufeld signing because they know O'Shea is going to be back. It's just a matter of time, right?
I think so. Yeah, it's about dotting the I's and crossing the T's. There might be some, business to do with coaching salary cap and such like that. So who knows what the scripting will do, but I think Mike O'Shea has to be back.
Oh, for sure. That'd be a big mistake or blunder if they do not get him back.
Oh, it'd be so sad in Bomberland. Oh my gosh. I got a shout out this week. I'm going to give it to Canada Tennis for winning the Davis Cup. First time since its inception in 1913. Canada was actually eliminated earlier on by the Netherlands. I think they were swept like 4-0. But since they were like the highest ranked eliminated team, when they booted Russia out of the tournament because of the Ukraine thing, Canada got in there and they just went on a run. They beat Germany in the quarters, they beat Italy in the semis, and then they beat Australia in the finals to win there. That's like the World Cup of tennis. Like
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's a World Championships of tennis, and Canada won that. Talk about the Canada soccer program. Canada tennis program is really moving on now. So
it is. That's good. It's good for them.
Shout out to Tennis Canada for winning the Davis Cup. Benny, you got anything to say to our friends?
Yeah, you know what? Thanks a lot for listening, and you know what? Don't forget, subscribe, follow, and check us out. And have a good week.
Yeah, and as usual, I'm going to steal the words of Ed Whalen and say, in the meantime and in between time, that's it. Another edition of Ray and Benny Talk Sports. Speaking of wrestling, every time American Thanksgiving, it always reminds me of Survivor Series and Undertaker making his debut. Has there been a wrestler with a crazier debut than that?
Probably not, no.
I can't think of anyone.
I miss the Survivor Series.
It was good back in the day.
It was good back then. Jeez. It was good, man. Those it was 4, right? 4 on 4?
Sometimes 4, sometimes 5, depending.
Yeah, like just watching it, it's just like, I don't know. Like you'd get you frustrated watching, going, damn it, the good guys are down to one guy or whatever. But absolutely, it's just fun to watch.
And then you knew Hogan would shake it off and win with the good guys.
Yeah.
Undertaker coming with Paul Bearer. Not Paul Bearer. Brother Love.
Yeah, Brother Love.
I love you. Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.